second to last week of the NFL Season Sim regular season. And we had a record 7 games that were rainy. So let's jump right into this wet and wild week of the NFL. Starting with Thursday Night Football, the Vikings hang on and beat Chicago. And that means Minnesota, they have won the NFC North 25-20. Kirk Cousins threw for 194, 2 TDs. And Justin Fields threw for 134, had a touchdown in this game. The key was a muffed punt by Chicago. That could have been the difference in this victory. Vikings 11-5, Bears slipped to 3-13 in the final Thursday night game of the season. Then the Buccaneers, a win 28-17. Now they need the Saints to lose to Tennessee, and they will lock up the NFC South. They win by 11. Desmond Ridder, first NFL start, had a rushing touchdown along with a passing touchdown to Kyle Pitts. Buccaneers, Tom Brady threw for 2 TDs as the Bucs look back in business and hopefully can lock up that 4 seat if the Saints lose to the Titans, but they're 8-8 now, back to 500 on the season. The Browns, they win in a meaningless game with Carolina. They win 12-10. Eddie Pinheiro came down to the game-winning field goal, pushed it wide to the left. This is the first of the rainy games, by the way. Darnold, 168, had a TD. Deshaun Watson, only 109, but it was that rushing attack with Chubb and Kareem Hunt that did the deals. Chuba Hubbard had the receiving touchdown for Carolina. That was the only touchdown of the game. The Browns kicked 4 field goals, and they are 6-10. Panthers slipped to 5-11. The second of the rainy games, the Jets win 18-13. They beat the Commanders, who decided to give Carson Wentz one more jab to see what he was made of, and he didn't do too much with it. 2 picks, threw a touchdown, though. Zach Wilson didn't do too bad for a rain game. He threw a touchdown along with Breece Hall running it in. Jets are up to 7-9. Commanders slipped to 6-10 in the talks of starting Sam Howell in Week 18 against the Cowboys to see what the rookie is made of. The third rainy game, Philadelphia 22-0, and they lock up the number 1 seed in the NFC with a win against New England. Bailey Zappi threw 3 picks as it was just a monsoon in Philadelphia. Mac Jones came in, did better, I guess, threw for more yards. And then Jalen Hurts threw for 2 TDs, had 14 rush. A.J. Brown had a pretty good day. And for the conditions, Jalen Hurts played a really nice game. Eagles are 14-2. Huge playoff implications on the line. The Giants keep their playoff aspirations alive with a win against Jacksonville, who was on top of the AFC South. Giants now 8-8, as this was the fourth of the rainy games. 186 a TD. Matt Breida had a touchdown, but he's questionable with a wrist for Week 18. Trevor Lawrence did all right. Travis Etienne had the only touchdown for Jacksonville, who now slips to second as long as the Titans beat the Saints in their division. Game 5 of the rainy games, the Ravens win 20-9. They beat the Dolphins and now are still alive for the AFC North title. As the Miami Dolphins, Tua didn't do too well, 163 and a pick. Lamar Jackson did pretty good for a rain game, 211 and a TD. Also had a rushing touchdown in this game. The Dolphins fall to 10-6, but they have the 6th seed lock up with the Chargers loss if the Chargers lose, and the Ravens are 12-4. The 49ers in this, the 6th rainy game, blow out the Steelers 40-7. Wasn't even close. And the defense, 11 sacks. Nick Bosa and Fred Warner leading the way. Brock Purdy, 228, 3 TDs, also had a pick. McCaffrey went off. And for the Steelers, Kenny Pickett, 201. Najee Harris had a good day. But they slipped to 8-8. They need the Chargers to lose to stay alive Week 18. The 49ers are 12-4, but they can't get the 1 seed. The Cowboys beat the Colts. Thank goodness this game was indoors, so we had to deal with no rain. But they win by 20 as Nick Foles threw 2 interceptions, but also threw 2 TDs, I guess. As Dak Prescott, 232 TDs, good day, as they mostly stuck to running the ball with Pollard and Ezekiel Elliott. Pollard had a good day, 98 rushing yards and a TD. Even Dak Prescott had a rushing touchdown in this game. As the Cowboys can lock up the 5 seed. How about this game? In overtime to keep their playoff hopes alive, the Detroit Lions beat the Vegas Raiders 29-26. An incredible game between these two. Jared Goff, 3 TDs, 320 yards. Derek Carr was sick, so Jarrett Stidham came in and dropped 240 and 2 TDs. An unbelievable day by Stidham. Josh Jacobs rushed for 120 yards in a TD. Amon-Ra St. Brown did good for the Lions. who keep their playoff chances alive. What's even crazier is that the Saints, all they had to do was kneel the ball, and they could go to overtime, but they give it to Mark Ingram, who fumbled. It was a scoop and score as time expires, and the Saints choke away the division as the Titans now lead their division and control their own destiny going into Week 18. They'll play the Colts. As long as they win that game or a Jacksonville loss locks up the division, the Saints cannot win the division. And the seventh rainy game of week number 17, the Seahawks win 14-10. They beat the Texans. The Texans gave Davis Mills another chance, and it was 3 more interceptions. But they're going to go with Davis Mills against Jacksonville in Week 18. Kenneth Walker had a pretty good day. Dameon Pierce had a touchdown in this game. Seattle, they control their own destiny. All they have to do is beat Arizona, and they will make the playoffs. But it's not easy because we all know Week 18 is rivalry week. The Rams and the Cardinals, another meaningless game, 28-21. The Rams beat Arizona after Arizona beat them in Week 10 of this year. Kyler Murray, 228 through the air, 2 TDs. Eno Benjamin had a touchdown. Matthew Stafford looking back to his prime, or at least last year, the Super Bowl champion Rams. They go to 6-10. Can't really do too much. Cooper Kupp had a good day as the Cardinals drop to 4-12 and will get a top 5 draft pick. Game of the week on Fox. The Packers lock up a playoff spot and the Chargers lose, which gives the Steelers a chance in Week 18 to try and nab a playoff spot. Rodgers, 261, 2 TDs. Green Bay, the highest they can get is the 6th seat, but they either have to win next week against Chicago or Seattle has to lose. But Justin Herbert, 226, a TD and a pick. The Chargers started off good, but the Packers, that second half, really helped them get the victory in this game. Sunday Night Football in Arrowhead, Cincinnati beats the Chiefs, and that gives Baltimore and Buffalo and Cincinnati a chance at the 1 seat next week. 259, 2 TDs, a pick for Mahomes. Joe Burrow, 3 TDs. Jamar Chase had a big day. Cincinnati still leads the division. All they got to do is beat Pittsburgh in Week 18, and they'll get home field advantage for the playoffs. Now, the next game is the Monday night game between the Bills and the Broncos, and this was the Damar Hamlin game in real life. And the reason I added this in is not because I don't want to have any disrespect for the moment, but it was a crucial moment in the league's history, and I decided to add it in because of the lasting impacts that it had on the league, and it united the league as a whole. So that game was not played. Kansas City, though, they lead the AFC at 13-3, Buffalo 12-3, Cincy at 12-4. Tennessee 8-7-1. It'll come down to whether or not Jacksonville can win their way in and the Titans lose. And then the AFC North still needs to be decided, and Pittsburgh and the Chargers will battle for that final playoff spot in the AFC. So 9 teams, I guess, have a shot, or we can see 9 different teams in the bracket. For the NFC, you have Philly, 1 seat locked up. San Francisco's locked their division. Same with the Vikings and Bucks. Seeding between Cowboys and Green Bay. And it'll come down to Seattle, the Lions, or the Giants on who can get that 7th seat in the NFC. And then we'll have our full update playoff picture after next Sunday for Week 18. This is ASC. Hope you enjoyed this presentation. Signing off.